Alicia, and this week we are going to talk about how to make sentences in English. How to make sentences in English. Today's lesson I'm going to, as always, talk about in three parts. First, I'm going to talk about SVO, word order, the basic word order in English. I'm going to talk about transitive and intransitive verbs a little bit. I'm going to talk about, part two, how to make questions. And then I'm going to talk about commands, opinions, responsibilities. So today I want to introduce some very common and basic patterns that you can use to make statements, simple sentences, and to make questions. If there's time, I want to talk a little bit about prepositions like in, at, by, those words, but there's a lot to talk about, so I'm not sure. Anyway, we are up on Facebook and on YouTube. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. As you join, please send a message in the chat. Please don't forget to like the video and share the video also so other learners can find today's lesson. Thanks very much for coming. I see lots of people on YouTube. Cool dude, hi. Kas and Kuronaberu no hito, hi. Digno, hello. Billy, Jesse, take a shower. Roy, Shreyas, Alex, Andres, hi everybody. Facebook, I see people on Facebook too. Yudi and Benita, Tarek, Dens Silbeck. Hello everybody. Thanks very much for joining us. Jassy on YouTube says, how's it going, Alicia? It is going great. It is beautiful weather here today. Okay, we'll give our fellow watchers another minute to join. So quick announcement from us, from me. I posted this on Instagram yesterday, but this was from our monthly review video. If you don't know about the monthly review on English Class 101's YouTube channel, every month we have a learning review video. It's a series, a monthly series, and you can actually send us audio and video. So we ask you to introduce yourself, or this month, I guess this month's theme or this month's challenge is to tell us about your city or your country. So if you want to participate in next month's monthly review video, you can check the English Class 101 YouTube and send us all of your submissions. So we got one interesting one from Mexico, I think it was yesterday. That was really cool. So I hope lots of people tell us about their cities and their countries for next week. So please check the monthly review video. This was just after we finished this. I actually listened to your audio and video messages from that iPad in the picture. And then we talk a little bit about your submission. So if you want to participate next month, please, please, please do that. That would be awesome. Okay, great. So with that, let's get going on today's lesson. There's a lot to do. And as always, please don't forget to check your free stuff from below the link on YouTube or above below the video, the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. There are free vocabulary and phrase PDFs that you can use to practice English. Okay, let's get started. If you have questions, please send them in the chat. I will try my best to answer them. We shall see. And also, don't forget, if you haven't already, to like and share the video. I'm going to share the video, and then I am going to start the lesson. Okay, so as I said, I want to begin today's lesson by talking about basic word order in English. So, English is what's called an SVO language, SVO word order. Here's where we're going to start. SVO for making simple statements. So SVO refers to S, subject, V, verb, and O, object. Subject, verb, object. So when we make simple sentences, our vocabulary words must follow this order. Subject first, verb second, object third. This is the most basic way we make sentences. So what are these words? What are subjects? What's a verb? What's an object? A subject, the subject of your sentence, is the person or the thing that's doing the action. So in this case, like, I am teaching, for example. I, that's the subject, the person acting. You are listening, or you are watching. You is the subject of the sentence. Subject is the person or the thing acting. The person or the thing acting. They're doing something. That's the subject of a sentence. Second, the verb, the second item here, a verb. A verb is a word that refers to an action. So the thing happening, our action, teaching, listening, watching, sleeping, eating, verbs. So those are all in the progressive tense for sure. But we can also use state of being. So to be, being. So an action, we are doing something, or our status, a state of being. That's a verb. Finally, the object, the last item here. Object, the object of a sentence is the person or the thing receiving an action. Receiving an action, receiving this action actually. Receiving the verb. The verb is like influencing the object here. So in my example sentence, like maybe, I am teaching you. So you are my object in that case. So let's take a look at some very simple sentences to see how we make them. I want to use this one to practice. Let's look at this simple sentence. I ate dinner. I ate dinner. So here, in this sentence, I is my subject. So who ate dinner? I ate dinner. The person doing the action is I here. That's my subject. My verb, this is ate. Ate. Ate is the past tense of eat. Eat is present tense. Ate is past tense. I ate, so that's my verb. My verb is ate. Finally, dinner here. Dinner, this is my object. This is my object. So this thing, dinner, this was like the influence. It received this action. So what did I eat? What received this action? I ate dinner. That was the thing I ate. I received, or rather, dinner received this action or was influenced by this verb. Subject, verb, object. This is the basic way we make sentences in English. Of course, if you want to be specific, you could change dinner to like chicken or salad and so on. So, but this SVO is very important in English. We cannot change this order. If we change the order, we make a different sentence. We totally change the meaning of the sentence. So let's take a look at the next part here. I have a tip. A lot of you ask, like, how do I make long sentences? How do I say like long statements? What should I do? One tip, if you're okay with this kind of sentence structure, like just making simple sentences, if this is okay for you, then practice using these coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions are those connecting words. They are and, but, or, for, so, nor, yet. These words. These are coordinating conjunctions. So, if you want to make longer sentences, use these to connect your simple statements. This is a good way to start making longer sentences. For example, I ate dinner, same as this, I ate dinner and, coordinating conjunction, and I watched a movie. I ate dinner and I watched a movie. There's two ideas in the same sentence. We connected them with a coordinating conjunction. I ate dinner and I watched a movie. Another point here. In this case, in this example sentence, your subject, this subject, I ate dinner, in this idea, here, my subject is I, and here, I watched a movie, here, the subject is I. Again, the same subject. So native speakers will often drop this second one, this second subject. I ate dinner and watched a movie is very natural. So if your subjects match, you can drop this one. So he ate dinner and watched a movie. Okay. He ate dinner and I watched a movie. That sounds like two separate actions. So if your subjects are different, you have to keep both subjects. If your subjects are the same, you can drop it. Okay. So let's go on to the last point here. The last point is about transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive and intransitive verbs. What are these? These are two categories of verbs. A transitive verb must have an object. So remember, an object is that thing receiving the action, yeah? Dinner is my object here. A movie is my object in this sentence. A transitive verb, this is a category of verb, a type of verb. A transitive verb must have an object. Some more examples. I like flowers. My verb is like. Like is a transitive verb here. It must take an object. I like flowers. Let's buy coffee. Let's buy coffee. Buy is a transitive verb here. My object is coffee. So here in these sentences, if I remove the object, I don't understand the sentence. Like, let's buy what? I don't know. Or I like. This sentence doesn't make any sense. I like. It doesn't make sense. We must use an object with a transitive verb. We have to. On the other hand, however, intransitive verbs. So in, maybe you've seen this in the prefix video. We can use in to mean not. Intransitive verbs, these do not require an object. Be careful. Does not require does not mean don't use. That doesn't mean don't use. It just means we don't need to. Not always, not always. For example, I slept. I slept. Slept is the past tense of sleep. Sleep. I slept. So no object necessary. He cried. Cried. Past tense of cry. He cried. Or she exercised. She exercised. So we do not need an object. We don't need an object always when we use an intransitive verb. Yes, sometimes we do include an object to be more specific. For example, she exercised her arm muscles or something like that. Or I slept, let's see, in my bed or something. We can include more information, yes, but we don't always need to use an object with an intransitive verb. So if it's difficult to remember which is transitive, which is intransitive, I read a good article on, I think, Grammarly.com. Maybe many of you know this website, Grammarly.com. They had a nice article with a good hint. If you remember, transitive verbs has like that transfer, that kind of sound like transfer. Like we have to transfer like the activity in the verb to the object. That was kind of a nice way to imagine or to remember the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. That's one point. Point two, about transitive and intransitive verbs. There are many verbs that can be both. They can be both transitive and intransitive. For example, exercise has a different meaning. For example, she exercised her right to vote. That's a different meaning of the verb exercise. That's a transitive meaning of the word exercise. So yes, sometimes, or in many cases rather, there are verbs we can use both transitively and intransitively. But this is the difference between these two. Okay, that was a lot of information. Whew. Okay, if you have questions, please send it in. I will try to check as many as possible. Let's take one quick break and then we'll go to part 2 of today's lesson. So as always, we have free stuff for you. I will go to the webcam over here. So for today I'm focusing on sentence making, and so when I show these PDFs, I often show like the front here. I'll go over here. I often show the front here, but important to note is on the back, like here, this one's about travel, for example. On the back of each PDF is a list of like questions or phrases. So part 2 of today's lesson will be questions and like confirmations and stuff. But on the back of each of these, this is business English. I know many of you are studying for work. On the back, you can find sample phrases. So these phrases depending on your needs, could be really useful, of course, but also good ways to practice your sentence order, like building simple sentences. So this is some questions and some phrases you can use for a business meeting. For those of you, for those of you who are beginners, more beginners, this one, family, yes. But it has a list of expressions for the first time you meet someone. So if you're not sure about like basic, if you're not sure about maybe basic expressions that you can use in conversation, this might be a good one. This is the family and relatives one. Or you can choose from all the other ones that we have for free. So please take a look. You can find the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. They are free, so you can make an account if you do not have an account already, and start studying with those. You can download those PDFs, all of them, not just one, but all of them. So please have a look, and hopefully you can practice making sentences and reviewing those sentences. Okay, someone says, I can understand your sentences, Alicia. Woohoo, that's great, that's great. Okay, great. So let's carry on, let's continue. As I said, today's lesson is about how to make sentences in English. If you have not yet, please do like and share the video. We really appreciate it. Let's continue to part 2 of today's lesson. Part 2 of today's lesson is about questions. So I'm going to a little quickly cover 1, yes, no questions, and 2, information questions. Information questions means like the WH questions, who, what, where, when, why, those things. So let's begin though with yes or no questions. Let's start with yes or no questions. So when we make yes or no questions, we use is or are at the beginning of the sentence, or we use do or does. And lots of people ask, like, what's the difference between these kinds of sentences? So let's look at some examples first. And let's see how we make these sentences. So first, for example, this one begins with are. Are you going to work today? Are you going to work today? Let's compare this sentence with, do you go to work every day? So, are you going to work every day? Are you going to work today? And do you go to work every day? These are the key differences in this sentence. So what is the difference here? Why did we make these sentences differently? What's the deal? So this first, a big hint here is our verb. So you'll notice this follows the same pattern here. Here's my subject, you. These verbs here, these are like helping verbs. Yeah? So these are kind of helping us to make the sentence. This is or are, or the do and does. These verbs are helping us. Our subject here is you. And our verb, our basic verb is the same here, go, yeah? But in this sentence, going. Are you going to work? So to work, that's our object. And then we have some extra information in this case. So what's the difference? Are you going to work today? When we use the progressive tense, we're using it to explain a temporary action, something that's special, so not part of our regular schedule. We're making a yes or no question here. Are you going to work today? Like, for example, it's a holiday, and the speaker wants to know, are you going to work today? So we use progressive tense here. This shows it's a temporary action. It follows the same basic sentence structure, the SVO sentence structure. It just begins. The beginning is this helping verb, though. So compare this then to, do you go to work every day? Do you go to work every day? Here, my verb go is simple present tense. So simple present tense, one of the ways that we use simple present tense is to show regular actions. So every day or every week, every month. So going here, progressive tense, shows a temporary or a special action, a one-time action maybe. This one, present tense, shows a regular action. Our helping verb here is do. Do you go to work every day? This is a question about the listener's regular schedule, their regular activities. Do you go to work every day? Yes, I do. Or no, I don't. I work part-time. So the difference here, this one is a temporary question. Today only. That's what this means. This one is a regular activities question. Do you go to work every day? Every day, regularly. That's the difference between these two helping verbs beginning the sentence. Okay. Challenging. I'm checking your questions. Let's see. I don't see anything. Okay, let's continue on. So let's compare this then, or let's also look at a negative example. So here I have the positives, is and are and do and does. We use the negatives as well, isn't and aren't here in this case. So let's start here. Isn't. Isn't she going to work tonight? Isn't she going to work tonight? We use this negative to begin a confirmation question. Like, I'm not sure. I want to check. I want to confirm. Isn't she going to work tonight? So here, again, we have this is or are, in this case negative, paired with my verb in the progressive form, going to. Isn't she going to work tonight? So let's compare this then with doesn't. So over here, when we make the negative doesn't, we use doesn't here. Doesn't he go to work at night? Doesn't he go to work at night? So here again, the same hints, yeah? So my verb again is in simple present tense. That shows it's a regular action. And this at night, this means generally. In the first sentence, it's tonight, meaning tonight only. So, like a temporary action, a special situation with is and are, a regular action with do and does. Okay, let's continue on to next. Yes, some of you are answering. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I'm not. Good. Okay, let's continue to the second part here then. The second part is about information questions. So when I say information questions, I mean questions that use those WH questions. Who, what, where, when, why, how. So just a few examples. We begin our question with the WH question, and then we'll use these helping verbs again, these same helping verbs, do, does, is, or are. So in many patterns we do use those. There are some cases where you might not see them, but for today's lesson I want to look at how we use them together with these WH questions. For example, past tense. What did you eat? What did you eat? So again, we have this question. We need our information here. What kind of question? It's a WH question. What? What did you, you're the subject, and your verb, eat? What did you eat? You could include more information if you want. What did you eat for dinner? That's great. What did you eat for lunch as well? So we don't have to include an object here. This one, who is she? Who is she? This is a very simple one, actually. Who is she? Who is she? And when are you arriving is another example. So this one uses, these two actually use this is or are helping verb pattern. And again, you'll notice we're using this ing form here. So one point to be careful of that I sometimes see with learners, we do not use this do verb and the to be verb in the same question. Like, what did is you eat? I'm not sure, but we do not use these two together. Those helping verbs do not appear together in questions. So please be careful. So you only need one of these helping verbs in your questions. Okay, I have to continue on to the next part of the lesson. I will take one more quick break and then we'll review some patterns you can use. Some of you are asking about it, and then we'll finish for today. So if you missed it, I was talking earlier about the free stuff that we have for everybody below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. The link is there. I will show you a few more examples for those of you who are students. This one, I think we'll go to webcam. Okay, so this one is the back to school one. But again, I want to focus today on the second page. There are phrases you can use for different situations. This is for classroom situations. So these are some ideas and some ways to practice making sentences. For those of you interested in music, it says singing, but this is actually music. On the back, if you like music, here are some phrases for talking about music. So again, basic sentence patterns. Like we just talked about this sentence pattern in part 1. I love music. I love music. Like subject, verb, object right there. Simple example. Maybe one more. Let's see. Here's one for hotels. I know lots of you travel for business and work. So on the back here, again, sentences to use in a hotel. So please check these out. Depending on your needs, depending on the things that you need to do, take a look at these, and then you can get kind of like some more practice with the actual expressions that people use in these situations. Okay, with that then, let's continue to the last part of today's lesson. If you're just joining, we're talking about how to make sentences in English. How to make sentences in English. Please make sure to like and share the video if you have not already. Also, you can find the PDFs I just showed you from the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. Okay, onward. Commands, opinions, responsibilities. I included all of these because they're quite common. And also we can look at how these are slightly different from the basic sentence order I introduced at the beginning of the lesson. Let's begin here with advice. Advice. In this, I'm focusing on using should for basic advice, general advice, and the negative shouldn't. For example, he should quit his job. He should quit his job. Subject, he. My advice word comes before the verb. So this is a pattern you will notice in all of these example sentences. When we make a change, like to express responsibility, to express advice, to give a recommendation, we'll see the change come before the verb. Quit. Quit is my verb, means to stop. Quit. And what should he stop? What's my object? His job. His job. He should quit his job. This sentence, he quit his job. That's a simple past tense. That's a simple past tense statement. So be careful. He should quit his job. He should quit his job. Okay, let's compare to a negative. They shouldn't yell at us. They shouldn't yell at us. Subject, they. They're the people acting. Here's my advice word. My advice word. In this case, negative. Shouldn't, which is the reduced form of should not. Yell is my verb, so that means using a loud voice. At us, in this case I'm using a preposition. This yell, we often use yell at or sometimes yell to. This verb takes a preposition at here and us. We are receiving this action, yelling, someone yelling. So they shouldn't yell at us. They shouldn't yell at us. So when we make a basic advice statement, like with should or shouldn't, we place this before the verb in the sentence. Okay. So let's move on to the next part. These are commands. Commands. So I'll label these actually for ease. Commands, advice. Okay, so for commands, what's kind of special about commands is sometimes we drop the subject of the sentence. We'll drop the subject of the sentence. The second one is a great example of this. First though, don't. don't. So do or do not sometimes begins a command or a formal request. In this case, don't bite, verb, your nails. So your nails is this part of your body. Like some people bite their nails. So don't bite your nails. This is a command form expression with a very clear don't. Do not, verb, object. Do not, verb, object. Compare this to this one. Stop staring at me. Stop staring at me. So here you'll notice there's no like subject. What's the subject here? In these command form statements, we understand the subject. So if I notice, like my brother, for example, my brother is staring at me and it bothers me, I would say to him, stop staring at me. Like I don't need to say you because it's clear in the conversation. I begin with the verb and this makes it a command form. This sounds quite strong too. Stop staring. So to stare means to look at someone for a long time, like closely. Again, this verb takes a preposition here, to stare at someone. In this case, me is the object. Who is receiving this staring thing? It's me. Stop staring at me. This is how we make commands. So a good maybe way to remember this is that they begin with a verb in many cases. Okay, let's go to the last part. I'm over time as always. The last part is responsibilities. Responsibilities. Okay. Responsibilities. That's a long word. Okay. 2 examples. These examples, I've used positive examples, have to and need to. They mean the same thing, really. So again, as we saw with advice, our modification here comes before the verb. So in this case, I have to go to work. I have to go to work. So this part here, have to shows responsibility. This have to shows a responsibility. It's before the verb. Go. Where? To work. I have to go to work. My subject is I. So we add an extra piece before our verb to show responsibilities or to give advice. One more example. She needs to speak with you. She needs to speak with you. So again, this part, need to, in this case, needs. So because my subject is she, remember we conjugate the verb when the subject is she, he, or it. So we take need and change it to needs. So she needs to speak with you. So subject, responsibility expression, verb, and then again preposition. So speak takes a preposition in this case with you. So our object, who do we need to speak with? With you. So these are some very common advice, command, and responsibility patterns that are kind of simple ways to level up the basic SVO word order. So for example, if we go back to like the beginning of today's lesson, I said I ate dinner. If we use the same verb, like I eat dinner, for example, we could use this like responsibilities. I have to eat dinner. Or maybe, I should eat dinner. So just using these words can change the meaning of the sentence. Yeah? So like advice word, if I say, in my case, I'm going to change this to present tense. I should eat dinner. I'm giving myself advice. Like, I should eat dinner. It's late. Or here, maybe speaking to a friend, I have to eat dinner. Sorry, I have to go. So we can change the meaning, the feeling of the sentence just with these simple changes before the verb. So right here in the sentence. But as I said, this is the most basic sentence order. So we cannot change this. If we change like object and subject, we change the meaning of the sentence. So we'll finish there for today. Phew, that was a lot. So I have to end there, but that was a lot of information. Thanks very much for joining in the chat. I saw lots of people watching. That was fantastic. But I'll end there for this week. Today, let's see. Today, what am I trying to say? our next lesson. Our next lesson. We'll be back next week. As always, next week it will be the date April 17th. Wow, halfway through April. April 17th. The topic will be another viewer request. I asked you guys on Instagram a while back about your live stream ideas. So this was another popular one, making friends in English, making friends in English. So I'm going to focus on like making invitations, making plans, and kind of those little ways that, you know, we connect with people and we spend time together. So please join us next week, April 17th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's New York City time. If you don't know your local time, please Google it. Please join us then to talk about making friends in English. We'll be back. Looking forward. And of course, don't forget to download your free stuff from the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. Also, don't forget to, if you want to join Monthly Review next month, please send us your audio or video submissions. We're really looking forward to those. So we'll finish today's lesson there. Thank you very much to everyone for joining. If you have questions, send them in the chat. I will check after the lesson. And we'll see you again next week. Enjoy your evening, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Welcome back to our weekly live stream. This week we are going to talk about English pronunciation tips. English pronunciation tips. So as you join, please don't forget to like and share the video. And as always, we have free stuff for everybody. You can get free PDF lessons from the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. We're going to wait a couple minutes so other people can join. And then we're going to begin. Today's lesson, I'm going to cover three kind of big topics. I'm going to talk about voiced and unvoiced sounds and how to understand the difference. I'm going to talk about vowel sounds with lots of examples. And then I'm going to talk about something called minimal pairs. Minimal pairs. So today's lesson will be focused on pronunciation, and the pronunciation will be American English pronunciation. This is American English pronunciation, not British English. So British English will have some different pronunciations, especially vowel pronunciations. So we're going to start in just a moment. I think we are waiting. Facebook, hi everybody. I see you on Facebook. Sunday and Marina and Co. Ling Fang, Naozad. Hello everybody there. YouTube, is YouTube okay? I see big. Okay, YouTube's cool. Hi, so send a comment when you arrive. We'll get started in just a moment. In the meantime, I have one announcement to share. If you checked the channel last week on Friday, maybe you saw this. We have a big announcement. We have officially launched YouTube memberships. So YouTube memberships are like a special way to support the English Class 101 channel in our case. And part of our membership is you get emojis in our membership. So if there are members in the live stream chat, you can use these emojis right now. So they are me. I can't believe it. It's kind of crazy. But this is part of the membership, the YouTube membership on our channel. So if you want some more details, please check out the join video on the English Class 101 YouTube channel to find out more about memberships. I see everybody on YouTube now. Hi there, thanks for coming. Oh yeah, our chat desk just sent a bunch of the emojis in the YouTube chat. Hi everybody. There's Nguyen and King and Quiet, Chio, Rafael, Rosine, Carlos, Nemisio, Ashraf. Hi everybody, thanks very much for joining. Great. Lots of people. Okay, I think we have everybody ready now. So again, today's topic is English pronunciation tips. We really appreciate it if you like and share the video so other people can find it. I am going to share the video and then I am going to start the lesson. Okay, so let's get started. Today I'm going to begin by explaining the difference between voiced and unvoiced sounds. Voiced and unvoiced sounds. What are these things? So let's get started. Voiced and unvoiced sounds are the two sounds, the two types of sound that we can create. So how do we know if a sound is voiced or unvoiced? This is a tip that you can use when you practice your pronunciation. So when you make a sound, touch your throat as you make the sound. So for example, like ah is a sound. If you touch your throat and you feel vibration. So vibration is like the movement. Your vocal cords, the parts of your body inside your throat, move to make the sound. If you touch your throat and you feel that vibration, that's a voiced sound, a voiced sound. We call it a voiced sound. So like ah is a voiced sound, e, those are voiced sounds. If, however, you make the sound and there is no vibration, for example, like an H sound or like an F sound, there's no vibration there, that's an unvoiced sound, an unvoiced sound. So these are the two sounds, or the two types, voiced and unvoiced sounds. This is how you can decide, is this a voiced sound I'm making, or is this an unvoiced sound I'm making? So when you're practicing your pronunciation at home, if you're not sure, you can use this to check, voiced or unvoiced. So I want to use this to begin today's lesson by practicing a sound that is difficult for many learners. The TH sound, the TH sound. TH, there are two ways to make a TH sound. TH is a little bit special. It has a voiced and an unvoiced version. So voiced TH sounds, so that means we use our vocal cords to make the sound, are words like these: this, those, although, neither, other. So these THs are voiced THs, this. So when you make this sound, you should put your tongue between your teeth a little bit. Think, this, that. That's true for both of these. So put your tongue between your teeth to make the TH sound. Be careful, not S sound. Many learners say like, for example, zis, so maybe a Z sound, or sink instead of think, something like that. Actually, that's an unvoiced. I'll talk about it in a minute. But make sure that you're not making a Z sound or an S sound with this. So to do that, put your tongue between your teeth to practice and make a th sound, or the sound. This is a voiced TH. So these words are kind of what we think of as structure words. So we use these words to help us make the grammar of the sentence. So these words are like connecting words, for example, or they're like kind of helping words in many cases. These words don't tell us a lot of information about the content. So in most cases, usually these kinds of TH are voiced TH sounds, voiced TH sounds. So again, this, those, although, and you can touch your throat again to see if you're making a voiced sound or an unvoiced sound. Neither, other. Let's compare this then to unvoiced TH sounds, unvoiced TH sounds. So an unvoiced TH sound, we do not use our vocal cords to make this sound. It's words like think, bath, theater, everything. So here, I'm not using my vocal cords. I'm making like an air sound only. It's hard to hear. Can you hear that? So think, bath. Again, make sure this, especially the unvoiced TH sound, this should not be an S, so not sink. So when I make the S sound, sink, my teeth are together, sink. That's not correct. Put your tongue between your teeth, or when you get more comfortable, like native speakers do, we quickly touch our tongue to the back of our teeth to make the th sound, think. So think, bath. Again, bath, not bass, where my teeth are together, but bath. So focus on that position for your mouth. Think, bath, theater. So no vocal cord use here. Theater, theater, just air to make this TH sound. So it's very quick, very short. These are unvoiced TH sounds. You'll notice these words are like content words. So with these words, we understand like the action, as in think, or it's a noun, bath or theater. So these words are giving us information, key information about the sentence. These are unvoiced TH sounds. Voiced TH sounds are our structure words, so they're helping us to make the sentence. Unvoiced words are giving us the information about the sentence. So these are our first sounds. I will come back to this at the end of today's lesson a little bit to review. So this is how I want to begin today's lesson. Please think of this voiced and unvoiced tip, especially for consonant sounds. A reminder, consonant sounds are the letters. Consonant sounds are the letters other than A, E, I, O, U, Y, those sorts of letters. So this is important for your consonant sounds when you're making consonant sounds. Yes, it is really live. Okay, let's get started, let's go to a break then. Let's go to a quick break. So today, as always, we have free stuff. But I know today is a pronunciation lesson, so I think if you want to focus on your pronunciation, it's maybe a good idea to begin with words that are important to you, so you can practice with the words that you are actually going to use. So you can choose, if you check the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook, there are lots of free PDFs. Oh, we're going to go over here? Or no? Okay, so there are lots of free PDFs that you can download. This one's about like romance and relationships. This one's about food, my personal favorite maybe. So there are lots of vocabulary words here and phrases for going to like a restaurant in this case, or for food and so on. So I would suggest if there's a topic that you are interested in, like pets or animals and so on, choose one of these or a few of these and use these to practice your pronunciation. So this is about your pets, for example, types of pets. That's a good pronunciation. Siamese cat, that S sound. So choose a couple of these to work on your pronunciation. Choose something that you use in your daily life or that you know you are going to use more in the future. So I think this would be good for your pronunciation practice, using the words you're actually going to use for your studies. So you can find that from the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. If you're watching on Instagram, please check YouTube or Facebook if you're watching on Instagram. Okay, so yes, we do. We have a second camera that sometimes is in our live stream. Okay, good. And if you have any questions, please send them in the live stream chat throughout the lesson as well. I will try to check. All right, let's carry on. So if you're just joining, today's topic is English pronunciation tips. So I'm going to continue to the second part, vowels, but please don't forget to like and share the video if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. Okay, let's go along to part two. I'll stand here for now. Part 2, I want to focus on vowels for part 2, vowels. So vowels are the other group of letters. I talked about consonants briefly with voiced and unvoiced sounds. Consonants are the letters other than vowels. Vowels are the A, E, I, O, U, and schwa, which I'll talk about. So here I have a list of example words that use the different sounds for each vowel. So let's go through one by one and listen to how we make these sounds and think about how to make these sounds more clearly. Let's begin with A. A. So there are many A sounds I want to talk about in this lesson. First, let's look at this word, mad. Mad. Mad, this is a short A sound, mad. So we make the short A sound when A comes before a consonant, like at the end of a word, and it's not followed by E. So mad or dad or bad, that ah sound, that's the short A sound. Compare this to this A sound, date, date. This A sound, this is the long A sound, date. So we make this long A sound when we have a consonant and an E at the after the consonant. So date or mate or late. This is one of the rules for making the long A sound. Another A sound we have is this one in autumn. Autumn. Autumn has this sort of ah sound. Ah. It's not quite an O sound. It's like AW almost. Ah, ah. So autumn, autumn. A common spelling for this sound is AU. AU. Autumn, autumn. So those are three different sounds. So mad, date, autumn. Ah. Those three. 2 points for those of you, I know many of you struggle with the R sound. The R sound. So let's focus on A to R. So starting from an A sound, going to an R sound, like art, 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 art. So this A sound goes slowly, art, to an R sound. And when you make the R sound, your tongue should not touch anything in your mouth. Art, art. Your tongue is just like relaxed kind of in your mouth. Art. So art, and a different A to R sound is in a word like chair, chair. So here, it's just like air, air. So chair, chair. So these are 5 different A sounds to think about here. Mad, date, autumn, art, chair. Okay, let's move on then to E sounds and compare the differences between these. So the first E sound is met, met, met. This is a short E, eh. That's the short E sound, is eh, met. The second E sound, this is the long E sound, heat, heat, heat. So this is one spelling, heat, E-A, but be careful, not all words spelled with E-A are pronounced with a long E sound. For example, bear, B-E-A-R, that's pronounced bear, bear. So heat is pronounced differently. So be careful, there are some exceptions to this. But sometimes the E-A spelling is pronounced with this long E, heat, heat. Finally, again, another vowel to R sound, cheer, cheer. So, ear, ear. You can imagine this as like this part of your body, the ear, ear. So we're moving to that R sound. Again, when you make this R, ear, your tongue is just, it's like at this angle inside your mouth. So it's hard to see. It's like this in your mouth. So there's nothing like touching your tongue when you make the R sound, er. Your tongue is kind of back in the mouth a little bit too. So cheer, chair, cheer, chair. A, E sound. With that in mind, let's continue on to I as well. I sounds. Again, short I sound. Lip, lip, I. So this is the short I, lip. Again, you'll see here with these short sounds, the vowel comes before a consonant at the end of a word. Mad, met, lip. These short sounds are just before a consonant at the end of a word. The long I sound, lie, 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 is here, lie. So you'll see this with like a vowel sound at the end of a word. For example, like pile as well. So there's an E at the end of the word, sometimes with a consonant here too, as in my example, pile too. Okay. Others, okay, I'm checking your questions and comments in the chat. This is an interesting I sound. It's foil, foil. I've put this in the I sound. It's like an O and I together. Oil, oil. This is what's called a diphthong. So a diphthong is when we move from one sound to another sound in the same syllable. Foil, foil. That's called a diphthong. So foil, foil. You may hear this with words spelled with O-I-L, like oil or boil as well too, oil. Someone says, how do you say though, like that, though. Yeah, lots of people have trouble with world, world. It's that RL transition, world. Break that down into 3 parts, world, and try practicing those individually to begin with, and then try to connect those. Okay, let's go on to O. There's a lot to talk about here. O. First is the short O sound, box, box. So again, before a consonant at the end, So box, ah, ah. That's the short O sound, box. Second is the long O sound, mode, mode. So again, we see O, in this case O, comes before a consonant followed by E at the end of a word. Mode, mode. So O is the long O sound. Ah is the short O sound. Ah, O. Let's look now at this one though. This is sound, sound. So sound, this is similar to this AU sound. I talked about autumn, autumn. It's like an ah sound, like AW almost. This is similar, ow, ow. The spelling here is sound, S-O-U-N-D. So there's an O-U spelling, but please be careful. This is different from words like should or could or would, should, could. This is different from these words, but sometimes you will hear this OU pronounced as an ow sound. In these cases, it's pronounced as an ud sound, should, would. So please be careful. The spelling rules and pronunciation are quite tricky, and I'll talk more about this in the future. Finally, this sound here, for. This is another example of a different sound with this OU spelling. Sound, for. Those are totally different sounds, right? But the spelling is similar. So try to remember, it takes some practice, of course, and reading and listening practice. But remembering these words that have kind of these different spelling and pronunciation rules will help you to become a more fluent and natural speaker, I think. Okay, with that then, let's move on to the last vowel and then our kind of tricky vowel too. Let's go to U. U. So U, our short U sound is here. Cut, cut, that's our short U sound. Long U sound. Here, not even a U. This is an E. N-E-W. New. New. That's a long U sound. But the spelling does not use a U. So this is a great example. You'll also hear it in a word like you. You. That's a long U sound. So there are different spellings. Short U, long U, new, new. Let's look at this one though. This one, many of you have asked about this. The double O sound. This is a very tricky sound. Tricky means difficult. This is a tricky sound because there are many pronunciations for this spelling. So here, good, good. Not good, but good, good. This is the pronunciation. Let's compare this to these two words. Flood and blood. So same spelling, O-O, O-O, different pronunciation. Compare good, good with flood, blood, good. So and here, different pronunciations. Continuing this group then, boot, B-O-O-T, boot, moon, spoon. Again, different. So here we have good, and here we have and here we have oo. There are three different pronunciations here. Finally, floor, floor, floor. So there are four here. I've introduced four different pronunciations for this spelling. The O-O spelling is tough, I know, and it's one that with practice and with time, you'll start to remember the most common, the common words that use these different pronunciations. So I chose a few today, but there are more. So this is an important spelling to be careful of in your reading and in your listening too. Okay. Finally, I do want to mention the word cure. cure here. Cure, cure. This is an interesting U sound. That cure, Q, Q. It sounds like the letter Q, Q, but we pronounce it in this word as cure, cure. So please be careful of this U sound as well. So this is a very quick introduction to all the sounds we make, or most of them, with vowels. Please keep in mind that there are many different ways to pronounce these vowel sounds, or rather many different spellings for pronouncing these vowel sounds. Let's end this part with this one, what's called the schwa. The schwa, I didn't include it in this part because the schwa is sort of like in the middle of all of these verbs. The schwa is a special vowel sound because we use it in unstressed syllables, unstressed syllables. So what does that mean? In English, we have stress. We have this rhythm to our speech. For example, the word beautiful, that has 3 syllables, 3 beats in the word. Beautiful, yeah? So beautiful. But when we say it, we have stress. So that means one part is stronger than the other parts. Beautiful. This is how native speakers say this word, beautiful. So beau has the highest amount of stress, the most stress. T has no stress. Full has a little bit of stress. So there are 3 different levels of stress in English that give it kind of this rhythm. So beautiful has this schwa sound. Unstressed syllables, no stress on the word, take this schwa pronunciation. Here, t, that's the schwa sound. It. That's what it sounds like, beautiful. So, because this doesn't follow a spelling rule, it follows a stress rule, we see it in many words. For example, here, in this word, separate, separate. So we don't say separate in everyday speech. This A right here becomes a schwa, separate, separate, separate. So it's a very quick, short sound. That's the schwa. It's not like any other vowel. Another example, this A in again, that sound, again, that's a schwa. One more, this E in camera, we don't say the E sound in camera. In fast speech, we say camera, camera. It's that again. This is called the schwa. The rule is to use it for unstressed syllables. So listen to the stress, how much emphasis is being put on the word, and you can find out where the schwa should go. Okay, we'll take, I guess, one more super quick break, and then we'll go to the very last short part of today's lesson. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that we have free stuff, as always, for you from the link below the video on YouTube, above the video on Facebook. I showed on the other camera a couple of these already. I mentioned for today's lesson, which is about pronunciation, I was thinking it's a good idea to practice your pronunciation with words you are going to use. So I showed like food and pet related PDFs, vocabulary and phrase cheat sheets. These are PDFs you can download. I'll show you a couple more. For travelers, especially maybe business travelers, or I guess for fun, hotel-related words. So this is hotel vocabulary. And on the back are sentences that you can use in a hotel. So some of the pronunciation points we are talking about today are included here. Another example is shopping. So if you like shopping and you want to practice shopping words in English, please check out this PDF. So there are lots of vocabulary words and phrases that you can use. And I think it's a good way to practice your pronunciation using the words that are important to you. So please check these out. Check these out. Am I over here? So please check these out. You can find these from below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. Okay, let's move along to the last part of today's lesson then. The last part of today's lesson, I'm going to focus on some very common points of difficulty for learners and a few ideas for how you can fix those. So, let's take a look. I want to look at what are called minimal pairs. Minimal pairs. After this lesson, if you want to know more, search for minimal pairs in English. A minimal pair is a pair of words, two words. They have the same maybe spelling or the same sound except for just one sound. Just one sound is different. This is called a minimal pair. A minimal pair. So, some common difficult, what should I say? These are some minimal pairs that many learners have trouble with. Let's begin with this group, L and R minimal pairs, L and R. I have 3 examples. First pair is glass and grass. Glass and grass. So here, the difference is this L sound and the R sound, glass and grass. The second one, fly and fry. Fly and fry. Again, L sound and R sound are different here. Finally, rice and lice. Rice and lice. Lice is a bug that you find in your hair if you don't shower enough. It's bad. Lice. So again, R and L sounds. So these are difficult because many students have trouble making the L sound and the R sound differently. Like they sound the same. So a tip to help you make these sounds more clearly is to focus on your L sound. So I talked earlier, the R sound, your tongue should not touch anything inside your mouth. So when you make the R sound, your tongue is like just inside your mouth in the center of your mouth, just not touching anything. However, the L sound, when you make the L sound, your tongue should touch the top of your mouth. So you can exaggerate it. L. And then when you make the sound, release your tongue. L. Glass or fly or, lice, lice. So practice making the L sound very clearly. L. Your tongue has to touch the top of your mouth and then release it outward. L. L. Practice making that sound so we can clearly hear a difference between your L sound and your R sound. This is one tip that I hope can help lots of people from lots of countries. I know many different languages have different kinds of struggles, but this is one that many people, I think, have trouble with. So please try that to improve your L pronunciation. I know it feels strange at first, but it's correct. Like my students often giggle when I would tell them make this sound, the TH sound, put your tongue between your teeth. They do it and it's perfect, but they laugh because they feel uncomfortable, but it's correct. It's correct. So don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel embarrassed. It's the correct sound. So this is a tip for L and R sounds. As I mentioned, this S and TH minimal pair is another one that's difficult for many students. So let's look. Bus, bus, bath, bath. So this isn't a true minimal pair. There are 2 sounds that are different. But bus, here we have a vowel sound change. Bus and bath. So vowel sound changes, yes. So actually there are 2 sounds different here. But the S sound, bus, is different from the bath sound. This is an unvoiced TH sound. We talked about this at the beginning of the lesson. Bath, bath, bus, bath. So make sure your S sound is different from your TH sound. As I said at the beginning of the lesson, your S sound, your teeth should be together, bus. To make the bath sound, your tongue should be between your teeth, bus, bath, bus, bath. Finally, sink and think. So many of my students have trouble with this or had trouble with this. The S and TH here, sink, sink. Your teeth are together to make the S sound. A sink is a place where you wash your hands, yeah? Think is the verb. I think. So students share their opinion. I think. Your tongue needs to be between your teeth. Think, to say this correctly. Sink, teeth together. Think, tongue between your teeth. So practice these two. Finally, last point for today, sorry I'm late, last point for today is vowel minimal pairs and similar. Not a perfect minimal pair here. But these two I hear a lot, and I've seen in your comments as well, questions about these words. So the first one is kind of hard to see. The first pair here is woman and women. Woman, W-O-M-A-N, and women. Woman, women. Spelling is very similar, but we actually change this O sound and the ending vowel sound. Woman, women. Woman, women. So woman, singular. Women is the plural. So be careful of this vowel sound. Similarly with man and men. Man and men. So your vowel sound changes here. Man, men. And lastly, someone asked in the chat, I just saw it, was about this one, this pair. So many students have trouble with this one. You are not alone. It is work. Work versus walk. Work and walk. Walk. In American English, they have very different pronunciations. In British English, perhaps they are more similar. But in American English, work, there's a clear R sound, and this O is pronounced work, work. W-A-L-K, to walk, to walk. Your vowel sound is very different. Wah, wah. It's a tall A, like wah sound. And we don't really pronounce this L, walk. We don't say walk, we say walk, walk. So focus on your vowel sound here. Work, walk. Quite different. Someone said, can I say think instead of think? We do not use the think pronunciation in American English. You might hear that in British English and Australian English, but no, American English speakers do not use the think pronunciation, So I would say no. I would say no, unless you're studying British English. So these are some practice points, and today I talked about a few examples and ways to hopefully improve your pronunciation. Okay, I have to finish. I'm 6 minutes late. Sorry. Let's finish there. Thanks for joining us this week, and we'll be back next week. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to make English sentences. This was a viewer request, actually. I'm going to talk about word order. So please join us next week, April 10th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. Please join us for how to make English sentences. Don't forget to get your free stuff that I talked about from the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. It is free, so please practice your pronunciation with those words you are going to use. Good luck with that. If you have questions, comments, whatever, send them in the chat. I will check it out, and we'll finish there for today. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for liking and sharing the video. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy your day, enjoy your night, have a nice weekend, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.